nitty-gritty stages now over in League One, with some teams only 3 games left in their season, but some still have got 5. But what's going to happen this weekend? We'll take a little look next. Back once again on our Perky Show today. We're taking a look at match number 44 over in League One, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, stop what you're doing, swallow a shoe and smash your subscribe. Get your bang out date. All things League One related, Blackpool related, well, football related. We got it all here, boys. On no one Roofski, of course, it is another one of those. Quick draw McGraw today, so we're not going to bring you up to date with, of course, those prediction leagues I've been working on this morning, getting prepped for, of course, a monster number crunching session. And I believe the next time we come back around for those League Ones, we'll have an update for, of course. So make sure you continue with your predictions, of course, as we get to the nitty. It does add to the tension, of course, as we head into the final couple of games of the season. And don't forget, the prediction league will continue into the League One, of course, playoffs. So that's when, of course, we'll come to a conclusion. But anyway, let's get cracking. Of course, take a look at how we all got on last time around, or how I got on anyway. Also, take a look at how I got on. But of course, we'll get back to you guys a little bit later on. So here we go, boys and girls, kicking it all off with those games in a little bit. It was, of course, Accrington Stanley against Doncaster Bloody Rovers. Of course, what ended up on that one? 2-1 win in the end for Accrington Bloody Stanley. That's right. Goals coming from, who was it? It was Dion Charles with a couple of goals there as well. Tyrese John Jules didn't want to go for Doncaster Rovers as they got nothing out of it. Maybe a late surge for Accrington Stanley. We'll take a look at the table in a minute, of course. 1-1 for me, not too good really. Meanwhile, Wimbledon against Oxford was a 2-1 win for Wimbledon. Big win for them, of course, towards the foot of the table. They might have just done enough to stick around. Joe Pickett on the score sheet, Alex Woodyard as well. Josh Ruffles on the score sheet for Oxford. James Henry got himself sent off. Oxford took a bit of a dent in their playoff hopes. Meanwhile, Bristol Rovers against Milton Dons ended up as a 2-0 win for MK Bloody Dons. Bristol Rovers looked like lost at sea here. Scott Fraser, William Grigg, who's on fire, of course, giving MK Dons the win. 1-0 win going in favour of Bristol Rovers. Unfortunately, not good enough. Meanwhile, Burton Albion against Lincoln City was, of course, a 1-0 win for Lincoln City. I think Burton are just home and hosed now. They don't got nothing left to fight for. But of course, they'll be back in League One next season. Timothy Anyoma on the score sheet giving Lincoln the win. 2-1 for me going in favour of Burton. Shame on me. Fleetwood Town against Crewe. Alexandra was a 2-0 win going in favour of Crewe. That was the real deal. Of course, I actually went with Fleetwood Town on this one. Goals coming from Crewe. Owen Dale, Chris Porter getting the goals as well for Crewe, giving them the big fat win in the end. Too little, too late though. Meanwhile, a big draw at the top of the table. Hull City and Sunderland ended up as a 2-2 bloody draw. That's right. Goals from Josh McGuinness with a couple of goals there for Hull. Jordan Jones, Grant Ledbetter giving Sunderland a share of the spoils. She's called a 4-goal thriller, but unfortunately I went with a 3-1 win for Hull. Northampton Town against Ipswich Town. And there was a 3-0 win for Northampton Town. The Paul Cook effect not really working. Peter Kioso with a couple of goals there for Northampton. Ryan Watson as well. And I actually went with the win for Northampton because they're fighting for their bloody lives. Of course, Peterborough against Gillingham. Big win for Gillingham there as well. 1-0 win. I don't think it was Oliver Connor Olegive on the score sheet giving Gillingham the win. Again, also still in the hunt for those playoff spots. Being Plymouth Argyle against Charlton Athletic. Big win for Charlton on the road. 6-0 demolition. Oh my goodness. Nigel Atkins effect is really kicking ass and taking names. We've got Jake Foster-Caskey with a goal. Jaden Stockley as well. Alex Gibley, Liam Miller, Chuck Sonike with Killen Watts also with a big fat OG. Giving Charlton the 3 points and a 6-0 demolition. Actually, remember the 2-1 win myself for Charlton. Not too bad. Rochdale big winners over Port Vale, of course. Sorry, Rochdale big winners over Blackpool, of course. What am I saying? Port Vale, of course. Big win for Rochdale then. They're also fighting for their lives. Oliver Rathbone getting the goal for Rochdale. Once linked with Rovers quite heavily in the past. Has he still got any of the capabilities? I don't know. Shrewsbury down against Wigan. Big win for Wigan as well. Goodness gracious me. They're all there. Oh, they are scrapping for their lives. Will Keane, Callum Lang on score for Wigan, Oliver Norman as well. And Swindon Town against Portsmouth was a 3-1 win for Swindon. Another big win for one of the strugglers as well. Goodness gracious me. Brett Pittman with a couple of goals there. Tyler Smith and Ron Curtis getting the goal for, of course, Portsmouth. As you see, I did hokey decode and pokey. But anyway, let's check over, of course, the table right here right now. Hull City lead the charge, and I think they're on the cusps of promotion, depending on what goes on between Sunderland or maybe even Lincoln. I don't even know, but they're on the cusps of getting promoted. Blackpool still in the playoffs. Charlton are in there now. Of course, Oxford just dropped out, but Charlton have got a couple of games in hand. For those, they could go up to 69, 72 points themselves. You just don't know. It is very, very tight still. You would even think maybe Gillingham have an outside shot. They got 9 points on the offering. Maybe it's still anyone's guess, really. Maybe even MK Dons or Ipswich. Goodness gracious me, they're all still in the mix. As for the foot of the table, Bristol Rovers are rooted to the foot of the table. Swindon also down there. Rochdale, a bit of a lifeline as well. They have a game in hand, win that, and they could go above Northampton Town. They'll still be a little bit shy from Wigan, but it could all be decided very, very soon. Of course, that's my picks, and of course we'll take a look at your picks in about probably a week's time. We'll come back again for the next round of League One matches. But anyway, let's take a look at the next round of matches, and here we go. Of course, it's an extended bumper edition once again, because there's a midweek. There's like a mini schedule next week, so we're going to cover all of them right here, right now. So let's get in the deep end. Of course, kicking it all off with Pompey up against, of course, Bristol Rovers. Played to the last 6, 2 wins apiece, 2 draws. Last round in Fratton Park was a 1-1 draw back in February 2019. Since then, they played each other and Bristol back in, of course, February this season was a 3-1 win in the end. Bristol Rovers, though, failing to win the last 13 away matches in League One. They come into this on the back of back-to-back defeats, losing to Lincoln, losing to MK Dons. Meanwhile, Pompey without a win in 4. As for the bookies' odds on this one, we'll take a little look at it then, shall we? Portsmouth 20-11 on. They are nailed on favourites on this one. 11-4 is your draw. 11-2 is your Bristol Rovers on this one. Of course, Bristol all the way down the relegation zone. Better win for them. They can move up to Swindon, which is 23rd spot. As for Pompey, they're down to 8th right now, but a win can get them back into the top 5. I'm going to go with a win for Bristol Rovers on this one. They're fighting for their lives. I think they want it more than Portsmouth. I think they can have another season, it looks like, in this division. That's Pompey anyway. Next up, of course, Blackpool up against Shrewsbury Town. Let's get into this one then, shall we? If I can find it. Is it this one? No, it isn't. It's this one. Of course, played to the last 6, nothing for Blackpool, 3 for Shrewsbury, and 3 draws. Last round at Bloomfield Rovers, a 1-0 win for Shrewsbury back in December 2019. Federica on the score sheet, giving Shrewsbury the W. Also played each other down the Meadow Lane, or whatever they want to call it, earlier in the campaign. It was a 1-0 win for Shrewsbury. Of course, that was earlier in the season. Heading into this, Blackpool undefeated in the last 16 home matches in League One. Shrewsbury have actually lost the last 3 matches as well, coming into this actually without a win in 4. 1 win in 6 as well, if you want to look at it that way. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. We have Blackpool 30-8 on for the victory. 11-4 is your draw. 9-2 is your Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury all the way down into 18th, but a win for them, make a move up to 16th. Blackpool are in 5th, and a win for them, make a close in on 4th. I think I'm going to give it to the Tangerines on this one. To get themselves right back in the thick of things, of course, with remaining in the playoffs, of course. Next up, of course, we have Charlton up against, who are we? Who are you? Of course, it is Peterborough. I'm going to try and fire up this one. There's a bit of a hinkiness on my system right here. We'll take a closer look at this one. Charlton up against Peterborough. Of course, played to the last 6, been 4 wins for Peterborough, nothing for Charlton, 2 draws. Last round at the Valley was, of course, 1-0 win for Peterborough back in August 2018. Jason Cummings, sock boy on the score sheet for, of course, Peterborough back in the day. Also played to, though, this season at Peterborough was a 2-1 win. Summerditch with a couple of goals there as well. Charlton's goal coming from Conor Washington, giving them the win. Charlton undefeated in the last 10 matches in League One. It's the Nigel Atkins effect, of course. I slammed him. I slammed him when of course, he was brought in. Just 1 defeat the past 6 games for Peterborough. That was against Gillingham just the other day. Meanwhile, Charlton unbeaten the last 6 games, picking up 4 wins and 2 draws to boot. So the bookies odds 15-8 for Charlton. Of course, 11-5 is your draw. 29-20 is your Peterborough. Posh currently find themselves in 2nd, with a bit of a cushion over, of course, Sunderland, but they need to get over the line. As for Charlton, they're in 6th, and win for them, they can move up to 5th. Nobody wants to play Charlton right now. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for the Attics down at the Valley. Of course, next up we have Crewe, Alexandra taking on, of course, Rochdale. A bit of a northwest crunch clash. Played for the last 6, 1 for Crewe, 3 for Rochdale. 2 draws last time around down at Crewe. It was a 2-0 win in February 2016. Marcus Haber, of course, Brandon Inman get the goals for, of course, Crewe. They also played each other this season down at Scotland. It was a 6-goal for a 3-3 in the end. Rochdale winning the last 3 matches in League One. Coming into this, just 1 defeat the past 5 as well. The 1 defeat was against Fleetwood on the road. They're scrapping for the lives. Just 1 win though in the past 4 games for Crewe. That was against Fleetwood Town just the other day. Look at the bookies odds on this one. We have currently Crewe 11-8 for the victory, and 4-5 is draw. 50-8 is your Rochdale. Rochdale coming to this, of course, in 22nd, but a win for them. They can close in on 21st. Crewe all the way down to 14th. I think it's too little, too late for them, but a win could see them go up to the top 10. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Rochdale. They've got a bit between teeth, and I think they'll keep on fighting. Next, of course, Doncaster Rovers up against Fleetwood Town. Played to the last 6, 2 wins for Doncaster, 4 for Fleetwood, no draws. Last time around in Doncaster, excuse me, it was back in August 2019, 3-2 win for Doncaster. Also, though, they played each other this season. Fleetwood was a 3-1 win for Fleetwood. Doncaster have actually lost 6 of the last 7 matches in League One. They come into this back-to-back defeats for Fleetwood, of course, losing to Hull, losing to Crewe. Meanwhile, just 1 win the past 6 games for Doncaster. That was against Shrewsbury a couple of games back. Meanwhile, the bookies odds on this one: Doncaster 7-4 for the victory, 11-5 is your draw, 8-5 is your Fleetwood Bloody Town. Fleetwood Bloody Town coming to sit in 15th, but a win for them. Bloody Nora phone, would you just bloody pack it in? Doncaster win for Doncaster in 13th. They could all the way up to, of course, 9th. Fleetwood, of course, in 15th. They could go up to bloody 14th in the end. I'm going to go with 2-1 for Doncaster. Maybe, just maybe, lastminute.com push for the top 6. Next up, we have Gillingham taking, of course, Northampton Town. Gillingham just outside the playoffs, I think. What are they in 9th, of course, playing, of course, Northampton Town fighting for their lives. Played to the last 6, 3 for Gillingham, 2 for Northampton, 1 draw. Last round in Gillingham was a 2-1 win for Northampton. That was back at Priestfields, of course, back in 2017. Also, though, the players, though, this is at Northampton, was a 3-1 win back in December 2020. Gillingham undefeated in the last 6 home matches. Northampton failed to win the last 15 matches on the road. They come into this, though. Northampton just 1 win in the past 4 games. That 1 win was against Ipswich Town. Meanwhile, 1 win in the past 4 games for Gillingham. That was against Peterborough just the other day. Look at the bookies odds on this one. Gillingham, even Stevens for the victory, 11-5 is your draw. 3-1 is your Northampton Town. Northampton are in 21st, but for them they can close it in on 20th. Gillingham are in 9th, and for them they can move up to 7th. And again, still in the promotion mix right here, right now. 2-0 win for Gillingham, 3 points in the bag. Next up, Ipswich Town up against AFC Wimbledon. Later the last 3, 1 win apiece, 1 draw. Last time around, Portman Rovers back in August 2019, 2-1 win for Ipswich. James Norwood, Caden Jackson on scholarship with Nesta Guinness Walker, giving Wimbledon a bit of hope, but unfortunately not good enough. Meanwhile, the players are down in Wimbledon this early in the campaign back in April, of course, not too long ago. 3-0 win for Wimbledon. They've got the bit between their teeth right now. Ipswich are failing to win the last 5, failing to score in the last 5 matches in League One. Wimbledon have actually won their last 4 matches in League One, beating the likes of Accrington, Ipswich, Swindon, and Oxford. 3 of those, though, were at home. Ipswich went in 5. So Wimbledon, of course, a better form right now. Look at the bookies odds on this one. Ipswich 30-10 for the victory, 200-10 is your Wimbledon, 9-4 is your 94 is your Wimbledon. Wimbledon coming to this in 19th, and a win for them, they can move up to 18th. Whereas Ipswich are down to 11th right now, but a win could get them back up to 9th in the end. I think this will be a draw, point split right down the middle, and I think Wimbledon will be the happier. Next up, Lincoln City up against Hull City. Yep, indeed. Of course, played the last 6, 3 wins to Lincoln, 1 for Hull, 2 draws last time around. In Lincoln was a 2-0 win for Lincoln. That was in League 2, of course, back in 2004. Gain and Mayo on the score sheet, giving Lincoln the win. Also, played at the KCOM earlier in the season was a 0-0 draw back in February. Hull undefeated in the last 12 matches in League 1. Lincoln keep a clean sheet in the last 3 matches as well. Lincoln right back in the form, of course, 3 wins on the spin, beating MK Dons, beating Bristol Rovers, and of course, beating Burton without conceding a goal. As for Hull, winning 4 of the past 5, of course, picking up a draw against Sunderland just the other day. Look at the bookies odds on this one. Lincoln coming into this 23-10 for the victory, 21% draw. 5-4 is your Hull. Hull come into this sitting in, of course, top spot, and they'll be top no matter what. As for Lincoln, they're in 4th, and for them they could go 3rd and maybe just get back into that top 2 race. I think it's too little far gone for them. They do have the game in hand. I'm going to go with a 2-1 for Hull City on this one, but I'm hoping not to be wrong. Next up, of course, MK Dons up against Swindon Town. Of course, played to the last 6, 3 for MK Dons, 1 for Swindon, 2 draws last round in Stadium MK, with a 3-2 win for Swindon back in February 2019. Also, pleasure though this season at Swindon was a 4-1 win for MK Dons back in, of course, December. Swindon losing the last 3 away matches in League One. Swindon also conceding the last at least 2 goals in the last 3 away matches as well. They come into this Swindon on the back of a win, beating Pompey last time around. As for MK Dons, back-to-back wins for them, beating Pompey, beating Bristol Rovers, and of course keeping a clean sheet to boot. As for the bookies odds on this one, MK Dons 11-8 on for the victory, 13-5 is your draw, 15-4 is your bloody Swindon. Gonna go with on this one MK Dons with another win, and of course that win could actually move them up to at least 9th for the 10. Well, maybe just maybe get into consideration for a late push themselves. It's still on the agenda. Next up, of course, we have Oxford up against Plymouth Argyle. Of course, played to the last 6, 4 for Oxford, 2 for Plymouth. No draws last time around in Oxford was a 2-0 win back in October 2018 for Oxford. Jamie Mackey, Curtis Nelson on the score sheet. Jan Zonongo got himself sent off. Also played to that in Plymouth this season back in December was a 3-2 win for Oxford. Plymouth failing to win their last 8 away matches in League One. They come into just 1 win in the past 6 games. That was against Wimbledon all the way back at the start of April. Meanwhile, just 1 defeat the past 4 games for Oxford. That was against Wimbledon, of course, who are fighting. Meanwhile, bookies odds on this one. Oxford 7-4 on for the victory, 14-5 is draw, 19-4 is your Plymouth. Perth actually in, where are you? In 16th for the moment, but a win for them, they can go up to 15th. Oxford are in 7th, but a win for them, they could go up to 5th in the table. Blackpool not nailed on just yet. I'm going to go with the 2-0 win for Oxford on this one. Here we go, though, up against Sunderland now, against Accrington Stanley. Played to the last 6-4 for Sunderland, nothing Accrington, 2 draws. Last time around in the Stadium Light was a 2-2 draw back in February 2019. George Honeyman and Aidan McGeady on the score sheet with Billy Key and, of course, Paul Smythe are going to go to Accrington Stanley. Also a pleasure, though, this season at Accrington, it was a 2-0 win for Sunderland. In fact, Sunderland winning the last 4 encounters between these two sides, and the last 4 have all been in Accrington. Heading into this, though, Accrington just picking up a win last time around. Just 1 win the past 4 games. That was against Doncaster. Meanwhile, 5 games without a win for Sunderland. They've hit a right old rough patch, of course. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. Sunderland 20-9 on for the victory. 3-1 is draw, 7-1 is your long shots. There's Accrington coming into is in 12th, and with them they can move up to 9th, maybe knocking on the door themselves. Sunderland are in 3rd, and they'll be 3rd if they get the win as well. I'm going to go with Sunderland on this one with a big 3-0 win. Next up, we have Wigan up against Burton. Of course, relegation 6 points perhaps, but of course, I think Burton are nailed on right now. Of course, last time around, in fact, the last 6 is 2 in a piece, 2 draws. Last time around at Wigan was a 0-0 draw back in October 2016. Also a pleasure though this season in Burton was a 4-3 win in favour of Wigan. Joseph with a hat-trick, Will Keynes as well. Joe O'Toole, John Brayford and Kane Hemmings get the goals for Burton. Burton have actually won 8 of the last 10 away matches. Wigan have actually won the last 4 matches as well. Burton keep a clean sheet in 5 of the last 7 away matches as well. Heading into this, just 1 defeat the past 6 games for Burton. That was against, of course, Lincoln City. Meanwhile, 4 wins on the spin have Wigan believing again. Of course, look at the bookies' odds on this one, 23-24. Wigan, 12-5 is your draw, 11-5 is your Burton. Of course, Wigan coming in 20th, and win for them they could go up to 18th. Goodness gracious me. As for Burton, they're actually in 17th, and win for them they can move up to 16th. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw on this one, point split random, and I think both will be happier about that one. That's, of course, this weekend's matches. Now we're going to kick on with, of course, next week's mini schedule, of course, so we're going to bring you bang up to date with that, which means there's going to be a whole lot of predictions for me to count onto this. No bookies odds on this one because it is still early days. Now, these games will take place on Tuesday, the 27th of April, and we're going to kick it all off with Sunderland up against Blackpool, of course. Played to the last 6, 2 wins apiece and 2 draws. Last time around at the Stadium Light was a 1-1 draw back in December 2019. Goal scorers on the day, Charlie Wyke, Matthew Virtue Thick getting the goal for Blackpool. Of course, George Dobson got himself sent off. Last time around, though, early in the campaign, it was at Bloomfield Rovers, a 1-0 win for Blackpool back in April, not too long ago. Sunderland are failing to win the last 5 away matches, of course, heading into this. Of course, 6 points on the agenda for Sunderland, and if they win both of those, they could, or would you believe it, they get up to, 78 points, which was not good enough for second. As for their opposition, Blackpool also got 6 points on the agenda. If they win both of those, they could get up to 76 themselves, I think. Something like that, 76, yes, indeed. I think on this one, another draw on this. I think Sunderland picking up a win, Blackpool picking a win, so both sides picking up 4 points in their chase for the top. Next up, Accrington Stanley up against Portsmouth. Played to the last 6 2 wins apiece and 2 draws last time around. And Accrington was a 4-1 win. This is a bit weird. I think they've got to play each other twice this season still. So 4-1 last time around in Accrington last season, of course, or 2019. Goal scorers on that day was, of course, Ellis Harrison, big for OG, Dion Charles, Colby Bishop with a couple of goals as well. Verona Curtis getting a goal for Pompey. Heading into this, though, of course, Pompey back-to-back defeats, of course, needing a win. Will they get a win in the earlier match? I can't even see them. My eyes are misleading me. You don't see me. They'll lose to Bristol Rovers, according to my eyes. Again, 6 points on the agenda for Pompey. They're in the race for, of course, the top, and they're in 8th at the moment. They could go up as high as 71 points, which is back in the top 6. As for Accrington, again, 6 points on the agenda for them. They could go all the way up to 67 points, which is 6th, depending on what goes on elsewhere. Going to go with a 2 win, though, for Pompey to get back to winning ways. Peterborough up against Doncaster Rovers, played to the last 6. Another for Peterborough, 3 for Doncaster, 3 draws. Last time around in Peterborough was a 3-0 win for Doncaster back in bloody Boxing Day 2019. Shut up, phone. So, yes, 3-0 win last round at Peterborough. Kieran Sadler with the brace, Benjamin Whiteman as well on the score sheet. Heading into this, just 1 win the past 5 games for Doncaster up against Shrewsbury. And again, Peterborough coming into this on the back of a defeat. Again, 6 points on the agenda for Peterborough. Win both of those, they could go top, depending on what goes on elsewhere. As for their opposition, Doncaster, 6 points as well on the agenda for them. And if they win both of those, where are you? You're down to 13th. They could go up to, of course, 6th in the table. So still in the mix, only just though, but I think they'll lose this one. I think that'll probably put an end to any playoff hopes for Doncaster. Next up, Shrewsbury Town up against Lincoln City. Of course, played to the last 6, 2 wins apiece, 2 draws. Last round in Shrewsbury was a 4-1 win for Lincoln in the Papa John's Trophy. So last round in Shrewsbury in the league, it was a 1-1 draw back in January 2020. Of course, goals coming from, who was it? Oliver Norburn on the score sheet. Tyler Walker getting the course equaliser for Lincoln. Also played over this season in Lincoln. It was a 1-0 win for Shrewsbury back in December. Lincoln keeping a clean sheet in the last 3 matches. Shrewsbury also losing the last 3 matches in League One as well. Coming into this though, Lincoln City looking very, very good. Unbeaten the last 4. Of course, 6 points on the agenda for Shrewsbury. They're all around to 18th, and a win for both of those, they could go up to, of course, 15th. As for Lincoln, they're in 4th at the moment, and a win for both of those, they could go up as high as 3rd as well. Going to go with a 1-1 draw. This one point split right down the bloody middle. Next up, of course, we have AFC Wimbledon up against Rochdale. Of course, played to the last 6. 3 wins for Wimbledon, 3 draws. Nothing for Rochdale. Of course, heading into this though, last time around at Wimbledon was a 3-2 win for Wimbledon back in, of course, October 2019. Heading into this also, they also played at Scotland as a 1-0 win for Wimbledon. Of course, Wimbledon's form is pretty good at the moment. 4 wins on the spin. So is Rochdale. It smells like a draw already. Again, 6 points on the agenda for Wimbledon this coming week and a bit. Of course, where are they? They're all the way down to, of course, 19th. A win for both of those. 15th 54 points. They could go up to, that is 16th. As for their opposition, Rochdale, they're in the relegation zone again, 6 points on the agenda for them. They also could go up to 48 points, which is 19th. Someone has to win. I think it's going to be Rochdale with a 2-1 win in the end. Back-to-back wins this week as well. Into the final two now. Burton Albion up against Fleetwood Town. Let's take a look at this. Last 6, 4 wins, of course, for Fleetwood Town, 2 for Burton. Last round in Burton was a 1-0 win for Burton back in January 2020. The one goal scorer was Ryan Edwards on the score sheet. Also, a pleasure that our Fleetwood this campaign was 2-1 win for Fleetwood back in, of course, September this calendar this season. Of course, 6 points on the agenda for Fleetwood. Of course, win both of those, they could go up to 62, which of course is 9th. As for Burton, same deal, 6 points on the agenda for them. They could go up as high as 58, which is 14th in the end. Another win for Burton on this one. I think I've got them winning both. I don't even know. Let me know. I don't know. No draw in the other one, and that's pretty much good for them for the season. And finally, it'll be Charlton up against Crewe. Place of the last 3 wins out of 3 for Charlton. Of course, including the 1-0 win last round at the Valley, which was in the Championship back in 2000. Goodness gracious me, I don't even have the goal scorer. It's that long ago. Meanwhile, they also played at Crewe this campaign back in September as a 2-0 win for Charlton. Of course, the Charlton undefeated in the last 10 matches in League One. They come into this in very good form. Crewe just 1 win the past 4 games for them. That was against Fleetwood. 6 points on the agenda for Crewe. Win for both of those. They could go up to 64 points themselves, which would be 9th. As for Charlton, 6 points on the agenda for them. That will be 72 points if they pick up a double win, and that's what they'll get with a 3-1 win in the end, boys and girls. And that's all I've got for you. Of course, is Manic Stations, of course, Albert in League One. Be sure to get your picks in nice and note for this, and we'll do it all again next week, where I'll bring you bang up to date with, of course, the prediction league. So make sure you get your picks in down below. Also, check out the links in the comment section, description, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Patreon, and all that kind of stuff are in there. It's Manic. I'll see you all soon. Until then, I'm out.